This AI-powered automation analyzes every call from a lead that comes into our business, and it's helped increase our close rate 7% and earned me a 12% raise. I'm Lindsay Gonzalez. I'm a normal person with a normal 9-to-5 job, and I drop new videos every week to help you make money with AI. And today, I'm showing you how you can not only build this for your own business, but I'm giving everything away for free. Assets, templates, everything, so that you can turn around and sell this to a business yourself. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel, and let's dive in. So if you've ever worked in sales or worked at a place that takes a lot of inbound calls, you know what a pain in the butt it can be to review all of those calls for lead information. But inside of those recordings is basically gold. You get lead pain points, goals, desires. Basically, you get more information about what leads really want and what's stopping them from buying. And a lot of teams either have to review it manually or they just skip over it because it's so time consuming and tedious. But today I'm going to show you how you can build this automation that will literally work on autopilot and analyze any information that you want from those calls. So I built this automation in n8n that runs every day. It grabs the previous day's calls, downloads the recordings, transcribes them, and then summarizes all of the very important details from the call. So the lead's needs, objections, it even gives the agent that takes the call a score. So it also acts as like QA or, quality assurance. And so now the owner can quickly review all the calls from the previous day and know how they went, and if he needs to tweak anything with the call center that takes the calls. And the sales manager walks into the appointment at the lead's house, already having a ton of information to close the sale. By the way, if you are looking to make your first or next dollar with AI and automations, click the first link down in the description. I'm running a 14-day Make Money with AI challenge where I'll walk you through 3 different paths that I've personally had success with use to get paid with AI. So whether you're freelancing, working a 9-to-5, or trying to build your own offer, I walk you through that step by step. Okay, let's dive into the build. The first thing that you're going to need is a Zoom account, and then we are going to go to marketplace.zoom.us. We're going to come up here to develop and click build app, and we're going to select server to server OAuth app. And we can just name this anything we want. I'm going to call this n8n demo test and create. Okay, this is going to give you your account ID, client ID, and client secret. Store these somewhere safe because we're going to need to add those into n8n in just a second. Okay, next we're going to add a short description and our company name. Okay, so we've added those, and then you're going to need to enter your contact info. Okay, and then we'll click continue. All right, and now you'll need to grab your secret token and save it somewhere secure, and then click continue. All right, next we need to add scopes. So the scopes that we need to add are recording, read, admin. Okay, so it's this one here called view a recording, and then we also need cloud recording, read, list user recordings. So just the one right on top of that. Okay, and then we're going to select done. Okay, and now we're just going to enter a brief description. All right, so now we've added our scope description and you can hit continue. All right, then we click activate your app and we are all set. If you're finding this helpful so far, hit the like button and subscribe, and let's dive into step number 2. All right, so we are creating our workflow in n8n and it's going to run on a schedule. I have mine set to run every day at midnight. You can change that to your heart's content. All right, next we're going to add a code node and we're going to paste this in. So you're going to want to replace this here with your client ID and this with your client secret. And this is going to encode it to base 64 so that it looks it up automatically every time and we don't have to interfere whatsoever. All right, next we're going to add an HTTP node so that we can call Zoom's API. And this is going to be a post request to this URL. You're going to want to replace this whole part right here with your account ID. Okay, we want to send headers and we're going to send an authorization header. And the value you want to switch to expression and paste this value in. And basically, this is going to dynamically pull each time from this code node, which is going to be this concatenated client ID and client string. Okay, and then we want to add one more parameter, which is content type. And the value is going to be fixed, and it's going to be application/x-www-form URL encoded. All right, so that's all we need for that HTTP node. So we're going to click save. Okay, and now I'm going to do a date and time node so we can grab yesterday's date, and we're going to select subtract from a date. Okay, and the date to subtract from, we can use the global variable today, and we're going to subtract 1 day. So we're getting the previous day's calls. Okay, and then I'm going to name this new field yesterday. So I want to test this real quick and make sure that everything is working so far. So just for the purposes of this demo, because I have a recording in here from a couple days ago, I do have a replacement HTTP node that I'm going to be using, which has the hard-coded date instead of the date and time node. So don't get confused, but we just want to make sure everything is connected. Okay, so I'm running through everything and everything looks good so far. So I have one item and my one item is over here in the output. Okay, so now I have replaced that second HTTP node that I was using before with the actual date and time node for the working workflow that you are going to be using. Okay, so you can see it's grabbing yesterday's date. Okay, so now we're going to add another HTTP node. This one's going to be a GET request. Okay, and it is going to this URL. So what we're going to do is replace this to and from placeholder with the actual date. Okay, so I'm going to highlight and delete the from and just drag yesterday over here. Do the same with okay, and then we're going to add a header, and this is an authorization header, and the value is going to be bearer. We want this to be an expression, and then we want to add our access token from the HTTP request node. So we're just going to drag this over. Make sure you include a space in between the word bearer and your JSON expression. Oh, and I see that we are getting results that are not from yesterday, and I remember why. We actually have to update the expression because it is including the time, and we just need it to give us strictly the date. So with a little help from ChatGPT, we're going to replace this expression with this, and now as you can see over here, the result is just the date. All right, so let's rerun that. Okay. So as expected, unfortunately, I don't have any recordings from yesterday, but it does work correctly. It's pulling the previous day. Okay, so typically this will return a bunch of calls. Like if you have 10 calls in the day, you don't want it to be returned as one big clump. So we need to split out those calls into individual calls. So we're going to add a split out node. And so right here, this is where all the multiple calls would appear. So we're just going to drag this over here. It's going to be called meetings, and that's a fixed value. And we don't need to include any other fields. So we're going to save that. And let's go ahead and test it out. Even though there's no calls in that data set, everything is working so far. Okay, now we are going to add another code node, and we're going to paste in this code, which just normalizes all of the items that appear in the array that I was just talking about that were addressed by the split out node. All right, now we're going to add an if node, and we're getting close to the end. Okay, so in this code node, we want to throw away anything that's not an audio file. If the file type is equal to M4A, which is the file type that Zoom saves audio recordings to, in the output, you can see that there is a true branch where there's an M4A file, which is an audio file, and a false branch, and that's an MP4. We don't want that. All right, so for this false branch, you can just leave it empty, or you can attach it to a no operation, do nothing node. They both work the same. Okay, and now we need one last HTTP node. It's going to be a GET node, and we're going to be looking for the download URL, which is over here on the left. So we're going to drag that over, and then we're going to put a question mark, and then access underscore token equals. And then we're going to go back over to our earliest HTTP node, and we're going to drag over our access token. All right, so now the expression looks like this, and we're going to go down and add a response. We're going to choose response format file, and I'm going to call this audio file in camel case with a capital F. Okay, so I'm going to click execute step, and here we go. Here's our audio file. All right, so now we're going to add a new node, and it's going to be OpenAI, and we want it to transcribe a recording. So I already have my OpenAI credential set up, but if you don't, this is how you do that. Go to platform.openai.com and then click settings, and under organization, go to API keys. You're going to create a new secret key. I'm going to just name this n8n demo test 2 default project, and then create secret key. Okay, I'm going to copy that and now go back to n8n. All right, and then I will create a new credential. I'm going to paste my API key in there. I'm going to name this test OpenAI just so I remember to delete it later, and then click save. Okay, so it tested successfully. All right, so it's going to transcribe the recording from the call, and I'm just going to change the name of the input data field name to audio file with a capital F. All right, so now I'm going to execute that step. All right, and this was the sample Zoom call that I did for the purposes of this demo. So this is an example audio. I can now take this audio and use it for analysis, training, quality assurance, etc. All right, okay, now where it gets real juicy is we're going to send this to an OpenAI model. We're going to message a model, and for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to go ahead and use GPT-4.1. I'm going to tell it to Please analyze this transcript. And I'm going to toggle on simplify output and output content as JSON. And then I do want to add system instructions by clicking add message. I'm going to change this to system, and I'm going to paste in this big juicy set of custom instructions. So this is going to be a template that you can use and change to your heart's content. And I just want to take a second to explain how it works and how you can adapt it for your own business, or if you're selling this to another business, how you can use it for their use case. So you are a call analytics agent for XYZ company, and then a business that has such and such description and has these products and services. So basically this agent is going to analyze whatever you tell it to. So we're going to provide the transcript, which is just this text right here. So if you want to see how to dynamically map it, we're just going to grab the transcriber recording text and plug it in right here. But basically the way that these custom instructions are set up right now is that it's going to do an analysis of sentiment. So is it positive, neutral, or negative? Trust indicators, the lead's enthusiasm level. It's going to list out specific pain points that they express, a budget and timeline. So are they ready to buy now, or are they still kind of in that research stage? Decision maker insight. So are they the type of person that says, oh, hold on, I need to go talk to my wife? It identifies opportunities based on the products and services that that specific business offers. It even provides predicted objections. So based on the conversation, what kind of things might they bring up as an objection during a sales call? It ranks the agent that is taking the call. So it says, how well they did and could they do better. It provides a lead rating. So if they're high quality or low quality. And then it gives the sales manager or the person, taking the sales call, how to best prepare for the appointment. So if there are specific, visuals or materials that they should bring with them to the sales presentation to help close the deal, it's going to make those recommendations. And it's even going to provide information on the buyer psychology. So how to approach the sales conversation, what might be motivating them to have made the call in the first place, etc. So now we're going to instruct the agent to return your analysis in the following JSON format. And I'm going to show you a really cool shortcut that you can do with this. So right now, this JSON example is set up to match the custom instructions that I have, but all you need to do, so let's say I wanted to change this section right here. So I'm going to change this to A, B, C, D, and E. So this is just an example, but now all you have to do is copy and paste everything from the number 1 all the way down to the number 11. Then take it over to ChatGPT or your LLM of choice and say, hey, can you turn this into a JSON example for me? And it's going to spit out something that looks just like this, which is really dope because I'm going to show you the last step in Airtable in just a second. Okay, so let's test that out. It's not going to really produce the best output because it was just a sample call that I did where I was basically just chit-chatting with myself, but you'll get to see how it works. All right, and then the last step is we need to connect it to an Airtable database. So because we have so many different things that we're analyzing, I mean, there are probably 50-ish different items in here that we're analyzing. I do not want to go through and set up each and every header to be quite honest with you. So this is a shortcut that you can use, not just with this workflow, but with any where you have a really lengthy JSON example and it's going to be outputting a lot of data and you don't want to go through and individually map every single item. So copy your JSON example from your custom instructions in n8n, all right? And I'm going to create a new table. So I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to just call this n8n demo test 2 and click save. And now I'm going to go over here to the upper right hand corner and click on AI assistant. Okay, so I'm going to tell it create a table that matches this. And then I'm going to paste in what I copied from the n8n workflow in here and just hit enter. Okay, so now it's thinking. And while it does so, I'm going to come back over to n8n and we're going to connect our Airtable base and what will be our table once the AI assistant is done running over at Airtable. So let's add an Airtable node and we want to create a record. So every time a new call is transcribed and analyzed, it's going to create a record in our database. Okay, so I already have my Airtable credential set up, but if you don't have one, this is how you do it. So go over to click on the little initial in the upper right hand corner and go to Builder Hub. Okay, we're going to create a new token. This is going to be n8n demo test 2. And we want read, write, and schema bases read. So those 3 scopes. And then we're going to add a base. So I only want it to have access to my n8n test base. All right, and then I'm going to create the token. So I'm going to copy that and go back over to n8n. And I'm going to click this drop-down menu, create a new credential, paste in my access token and hit save. And I'm going to rename this just for my purposes so I remember to delete it later. Okay, so that is successful. It's selected on my credential list. All right, so for my base, I'm going to select my n8n test base, which is the only option because I limited the access when I created my token. Okay, and then I'm going to select n8n demo test 2. Okay, and now we can see all of the different columns, the headers that were created by the AI assistant over in Airtable, and so I can drag everything over and map it accordingly. All right, so I'm just going to go through and start dragging and dropping. All right, so I've gone through and finally mapped everything, and that took a cool 5 minutes. So that just speaks to the depth of the analysis that this thing is able to do. And obviously you can modify it to your heart's content and make it specific for your use case. All right, so we executed the step and now everything has been recorded in Airtable. And a lot of the data is missing because like I said, this was just a really simple test call where I was basically just talking to myself for 20 seconds, but I think you get the idea. All right, so this wasn't just some fun experiment. This has saved tons of hours, like 10-15 hours a week for our business. It saved tons of money. And like I said, this has increased our close rate by 7%. So it kind of makes it a no-brainer for my boss to be able to give me a raise because I built something that makes us more money and saves time and we don't have to do anything additional. And that's the power of building things that solve real business problems. So you can use this exact workflow and just modify it for your team or your business. Or if you're freelancing or consulting, this is the kind of system that you can use to sell to any business that gets high call volume. So think of like other businesses in the trades like HVAC, solar, real estate, law firms. Like, you get the idea. So if you want the n8n blueprint and the template for the system instructions, you can click the link down in the description and get those absolutely for free. And if you thought this video was interesting or it inspired you to create something, hit the like button, subscribe, because I drop new content every week that helps to teach you how to make money with AI. And if you're looking to make your first or next dollar with AI and automations, click the first link down in the description. I'm running a 14-day challenge to make money with AI using 3 proven methods that I've had success with, where I guide you through step by step, and it's all in the community that I'm in. Next week, I'm going to be showing you how to build an AI voice agent that you can use to sell to other businesses or use within your own business. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.